The meeting's been properly posted and will be taken. Thank you. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 4th, 2021 Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 3 is communications. Do we have any communications at this point? So we'll move on to item number 4, public hearing to review and possible recommendation regarding the Wisconsin custom food. 4.1 is a public hearing on a request to consider amending an existing group development conditional use permit at 1830 Hobbs Drive, allowing for multi-tenant buildings to add an in-vehicle sales or service land use for a proposed food truck business and sales within the manufacturing light ML zoning district. Applicant Wisconsin Custom Food Trucks LLC. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to untable this and continue the public hearing.
So
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Regarding?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is, like you said, at 1830 Hobbs Drive. It's in-vehicle sales or service, and the applicant is here tonight. And they basically are fixing up foodie trucks, and then they, most of their products, I believe, are special ordered, and then they have people that already purchased them, but we'll let the applicant come up in case you have any specific questions for them.
All right, thanks.
I was told about the very last minute, so I don't really exactly know what we're talking about, to be honest with you. My brother usually deals with these things.
I think for our purposes, if you wanted to just, I mean, obviously we've got information in our packets that kind of talk about the business and what you're looking at doing, but if you want to explain anything else or just take.
They mostly just customize the food trucks, so the food trucks are just sold as it is, kind of like step ends, and then they install the equipment. Kind of like you said, like custom order, so whatever the customer is that they're going to sell, the equipment differs every time. So I think they're looking just to expand it a little more and be able to, I think it was buy the food trucks at auctions. So I think this was one of the steps in order to do so.
Anyone on the commission have any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it still anticipated that this would be on probably a 1 or 2 at a time basis?
Sorry, say that again, 1 or 2 trucks there at a time?
1 or 2 trucks would be in the facility being worked on at a time. We're not talking about a fleet.
We only work on 1 at a time inside of the shop. So yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions? And if we could just get your name and
Sure,
address
Vanessa.
for the record. that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Vanessa Valdez, 401 East Lower Valley.
No other questions? I don't know if there's any other citizens here that want to speak at this time? Or do you
I would
want to
just-
add anything more?
Yeah, I would just say from staff standpoint, that was just our biggest concern was if they did end up, let's just say they had 10 trucks or something like that at some point. So from staff, the parking was the only thing that we were looking at. So it might be something that you ought to consider looking at.
T, assuming that it's just 1 or 2 trucks at a time, you've looked at it, parking won't be an issue.
Right, yeah, they do have, there's a few different units out there, and I think in front of those units, there's probably at least 3 parking stalls. So a lot of it, from what I've seen so far with what they've been doing, there hasn't been an issue with parking. It's just a matter of if this grew into something that, you know, became to work. I believe they probably only have room to work on one vehicle at a time because those garages really aren't that big. So while they're probably only working on one at a time, if for some reason, you know, there happened to be a backlog of them or something, that would be the only thing that staff wanted you guys to do.
And is it a possibility that they can share parking with other tenants?
Right, I don't believe that there's specific parking spots for each of those tenants that are in front of that building. They're not marked, so. Correct.
Team, what would be like the overflow parking, what would that lot allow as far as, say they had 5 trucks there, could they accommodate that?
That shouldn't be an issue. I should have made myself clear. Yeah, we can only work on one at a time inside. But like I said, sorry, I didn't make it clear, but as of lately, we are getting more business, so we do need to have space for more trucks to be outside of the lot while we work on one.
What's-
Because
Do you have an idea what kind of number that would be?
¿cuántos camiones seríamos que tendrías más o menos?
A veces tenemos 4 o 5 personas afuera, otros 4.
4, 5, 3, 4, but like I said, as of right now, it's starting to expand.
When you ask about the number of parking spots, there's multiple units out there, so depending upon what would go on in there in the future, you just won't want a bunch of them going in there that are gonna have a lot of cars sitting there, so, but I mean, it can probably, you know, hold 4 or 5. But if it starts getting much bigger than that, there might be some parking issues, because these vehicles aren't small either, so.
Yeah, I drove by the other day, so.
Thank you. Again, are there any other citizens in attendance that wish to speak at this time on this issue? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing at this time. On to item number 4.2, which is consider amending the existing group development conditional use permit at 1830 Hobbs Drive, allowing for multi-tenant buildings to add an in-vehicle sales or service land use for proposed food truck business and sales within the manufacturing light ML zoning district, applicant Wisconsin Custom Food Trucks LLC. Is there a motion to approve?
So
Can we add a parking limit?
I
I was thinking 4 or 5 in that area, just so they don't all of a sudden end up with 10 trucks there.
Sure. I think there's a program, I mean, we've done kind of put, I mean, does staff have would that ease some of the potential concerns that staff has?
yeah, I believe if the applicant is fine with you putting, you know, I would add, they might be fine with you saying 5, you know, but I think if they were to have 10 of those out there, you're gonna start running out of parking stalls.
So that's what I was focused
Do you have an issue if they put like a limit of 5? So technically you would have
So that would
6, because you could have 1 in the building and 5.
Yeah, and that would be like food trucks, right? Not our own personal vehicles.
Right,
but
just
the
food trucks.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Just add that to the recommended conditional use as well. So there's a motion
on.
and
I'll second.
and a second.
With the limit.
Yeah, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to suggest that the motion also include the recommendations as provided by staff.
There's a motion and second, and added the one other additional conditions that could be added to it. So any other further discussion? And hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion passes. Item, moving on to item number 5, then it is public hearing regarding, or public hearing review and possible recommendation regarding the Con building quote for Culver's Restaurant. This time I go ahead and open the public hearing under 5.1, which is a public hearing on a request to consider amending an existing conditional use permit East Geneva Street, located in the business region of the R zoning district with an in-vehicle sales or service lane use to allow for installation of a double drive-through order stations applicant on building 4 Culver's Restaurant. Do you want to get started?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, again, this is at 1931 East Geneva Street. Most of us know as the Culvers. They're looking to make it so that their drive-through is a double lane drive-through, very similar to what McDonald's did a few years back. Initially, they came to us a while ago to staff, and we had some issues with parking because they're going to end up, this drive-through will end up eliminating a few parking stalls. But they were able to get some off-street parking, which our zoning code allows. And I believe we have some, two of the applicants are here, so I'll open that up to them if you guys have any further questions with that.
Again, the public hearing is open, just would ask to state your name and address for our record.
My name is Chris McGuire with McCon Building Corporation, business address 1059 Circle Drive, Highland, Wisconsin, 53543. Thank you for your time this evening. Culver's approved the double drive-through system wide in January of 2021. We're involved in more than 70 of them this year, and we have many more to go in 2022. We are seeking approval of double drive-through here at Culver's at Delavan. We have an agreement for parking with Cole for 18 vehicles. And we will be seeking clarifications and landscaping modifications, just as the approval is requesting there to clean up some landscaping along the street frontages. We're glad to do it. Just want to seek clarification on the scale and scope of that. And as far as the double drive-through, what it does for the benefit of the guests is it helps the peaks and valleys. So if you get in the line and as a person pulling through with the van full of people, it's going to take a longer to process the order and to cook the order. If another car pulls up and it's just a single person in there and they want a custard treat, it's a much quicker process. So the flow of orders continuously moves the flow of through the kitchen, and it also the line goes a little faster. So everybody has better experiences going through this. I'll try to answer questions that you may have.
Any questions on behalf of the commission?
Thank you. Has your engineering staff reviewed the turning radius after the proposed double entry for the larger vehicles? Larger trucks, for example?
They have, yes.
I know it's a little tight.
It is a little tight in there, but we have found that having completed nearly 70 of them thus far, the same basic geometry is used on each of the parcels, so it's been working out well. I will grant you that anybody with an extended cab truck or a crew cab with full length 8-foot box on it, it's going to feel tight, that's for certain. But it still works.
But it's your assurance that it'll be adequate for those vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Can you explain how that would work with the 2 order spots and then only 1 delivery spot? Is it going to be similar to what we see at McDonald's?
We have built McDonald's many years ago, so I don't know how we're operating right now. But in the Culver's world, what is happening is that when you pull up and you order, they'll ask, may I have a name to go with that order, please? Say your name. As you get up to the window, they will confirm the name, and that will allow them, if it happens to be 2 people with the same name, they may ask for further clarification as far as what you ordered. But it has been very effective, and it adds a little bit of a personal touch to it.
But you have 2 stations.
There are 2 order stations. They merge into 1 lane,
Okay.
and as they go forward to the window, in sequence, effectively, the people inside will know as they're starting to read off the names who's next. Now, if there is one vehicle, like I mentioned earlier, with a van that takes a little longer, they may have to verify by see either you look out the window, you see that it's a van, you're going to look at which order was longer.
I've actually been to a couple of Culvers that have set something like this up, and other Culvers that are very busy that don't have this set up. In most cases, they have a waiting space assigned so that when the orders are completed, they can be brought out to the car in case that they can't be brought out immediately through the window. Is there adequate space to handle the increased load of cars going through with orders to facilitate that?
There is, that is part of the process as well. The reason that this particular ownership group, they look for between the order position and the window, they're looking for us to achieve more than 7 cars of what they refer to as the chute. So from time of order to the time of the window, they're getting a head start on the food, where you may have experienced some of the stores that are a little closer. Whether it be a single lane, Lake Geneva, we are working on a double drive-through. There's nearly, I guess, any store across the country out of the 820 stores that can do a double drive-through want a double drive-through. They are not all able to do it. There's not the physical space for it. This one has the physical space.
Questions from Commissioner? I guess not. So, okay, all right.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time wish to speak on this issue? If not, I would go ahead and close the public hearing. Item number 5.2, which is consider a resolution to amend an existing conditional use permit at 1931 East Geneva Street to allow for reconfiguration of the order board, alignment for a fast food restaurant in vehicle sales or service land use within the business regional BR zoning district applicant for Culvers. The committee's pleasure.
I make a motion as written.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 6 is public hearing review, possible recommendation. Tim Hansen for One Power Sports. Item 6.1 is a public hearing on a request to consider a request for rezoning of the 4 vacant parcels along the east and south side of Hobbs Drive, north of Mountain Road, tax key XA 4891-1 through XA 4891 through 4 from manufacturing general MG to manufacturing light ML applicant. For One Power Sports. It's going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Mark, you want to get started?
Sure. This is a parcel of property that the city has in our industrial park number 6. When the Planning Commission and Council went through our comprehensive plan a few years ago, this was identified as, it's currently zoned manufacturing general. It was identified as a area because of the size of the lots that would better fit the manufacturing light category. And that is what the prospective purchaser of the property is looking to do, is to request a rezone to manufacturing light and also to be purchasing a property ultimately from the city and coming back to the Planning Commission and Council with a conditional use for the site plan for use of the property. At this point, it is a request to rezone the property to manufacturing light.
Questions for Mark?
Mark, has this been reviewed by our planner?
It has, yes. And it is in concert with the comprehensive plan. I believe we attached a section of the comp plan in the report.
Questions from Mark? Or from petitioner? No, petitioner has anything. Tim, if you have anything that you want to add or
No, not necessarily. If you guys have any questions, you have to answer them. So we're just looking to put storage buildings up. It won't be multi-unit storage buildings. There'll be large clear span buildings for large items, wave runners, if we, get enough, we can start doing RVs and stuff like that, but for now, it's just gonna be for our personal business use.
Any questions for Tim on commissioners? Not, I guess we're good. Are there any other citizens who wish to speak at this time regarding this agenda item? If not, I'd go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to item 6.2, which is review and possible recommendation to the common council of an application to rezone the 4 vacant parcels along the east and south side of Ponds Drive, north of Mount Road, tax key XA 4891-1 through XA 4891 through 4 from manufacturing general MG to manufacturing light ML applicant, again, Tim Hanson for 1. Sports. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 7 is under business. 7.1, it's considered 24 lot final plat request for Arbor Ridge Estates.
Petitioner is here in the audience. This was the preliminary plat that came before the planning commission last month. The report is in your packet. Staff did have some recommendations regarding various easements and such that should be placed upon the face of the plat. Those items 1 through 8 on the agenda report. Any questions? The applicants are here. Again, it's a 24 lot, single family proposed subdivision.
Great, thanks, Mark. Any questions from commissioners? I just would have one. I know obviously, as Mark pointed out, this came before planning commission and then city council. I just am curious if there was anyone in the current subdivision that's maybe taking you up on your offer to show them some of the existing houses that you're building and what it might look like in that subdivision.
Since our meeting, I haven't heard a thing, so, other than from the seller directly, and, that's it, so. We've had.
I'm sure the offer still stands.
Yeah, I'm still happy to meet everybody, so, take it through. So.
Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion as written.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, let the record show that the motion, with your permission, is inclusive of the 8 items as recommended by staff.
Correct, yeah. As written.
Any other further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks. Item number 8 is update on building and zoning related matters. 8.1 updated residential developments report. Questions for the team? And you want to specifically highlight?
Well, I can highlight, so the school's getting pretty close to being done. We're waiting for some roof material and some electrical parts for their service. We're at the spec building, which would be the prop shafts building. They're getting ready to pour the concrete floors. And, right next door to that at Millennium, if you've driven out there, you'll see that they've been moving a bunch of dirt and getting the ground ready for their building that they're going to be bringing out there. We do have a few single family homes that are being wrapped up. We're getting close to their final inspections. And other than that, I don't know if you have any specific questions that I can answer for you.
Questions for T?
I have a couple. Any updates on Meyer plat?
We haven't heard anything from Meyer. I guess that would be a call that Brian probably would get, Brian would get it, but I don't think we've heard anything from Meyer.
Perkins?
That building's still vacant too. I haven't heard anything from anyone on that.
I had one call on that from some real estate commercial broker out of Chicago, who that's why he was looking at it, but they wanted to verify first to make sure that we didn't have, that Olive Garden was not moving into it. And I was like, that was the first we'd heard of that, so.
It's too small for.
That is what someone else said,
We don't have a liquor license. Olive Garden is a company for liquor license.
Make them. Mr. Mayor, anything new on the other half of the Shopko building?
That's public now, right? Sure.
I don't know, is that out yet?
The answer is yes, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to name that source at this time.
I think they still have to come in for a permit, right? From CUP, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be next month. We'll have a conditional use permit for
Whatever.
yes, it'll be a surprise for you.
And the Millennium Building, the new tenants taking that. Is that out yet?
I do not know their name yet or anything, but I just know it's supposed to happen by the end of July.
So that's a long time out.
Yeah, I have not heard any details. I just know that it's automotive related and it's a parts manufacturer, I believe.
Questions for T? Not, and there's no further business. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of adjournment,